demonstrate how to build a barn swallow nest. Now, barn swallows are beautiful birds that have a glistening blue foliage and a forked tail, and they're actually quite widespread across the globe. In fact, they occupy all continents except for Antarctica. Now, in our hemisphere, they tend to spend the winter in South America, and they migrate up to North America and Canada in the summer, where they breed. And while swallows are certainly friends of the gardener, they eat a lot of insects and flies particularly, they can be a little pestiferous where they build their nests. And oftentimes they build them under the eaves of a house, and quite frequently around entrances, because they'll take advantage of lights and other structures. A good friend of mine has a swallow nest right by their doorstep every year. And so what I'm going to do is build her an artificial nest, and hopefully that we can persuade the barn swallows to occupy that nest instead of being right in front of the door. So to get started, I have a ball, and it's a little bit big. It's about 6 inches. Ideally 5 inches would be good, but this is what I found. I also have plaster of Paris, so I'm going to start by just mixing that. It begins as a powder, and you just mix the water in and stir it around. You can also use a quick drying cement to make this as well. And I want this to have kind of a thick, pasty consistency when I get done, so I could form it around the ball. Let's get that nice and mixed. You want to wear gloves. Plaster of Paris becomes really hot when it's mixed, so we don't want to lay it on our skin because we can burn ourselves. All right, that's pretty well mixed, and now I'm going to apply it over the ball. I only want to cover about 1/4 of the ball. My goal is to create more or less a bowl shape, and one side will be the opening to the top, and the other will mount to a board to give it a back. So I'm going to just start laying this out over the ball and try to shape it as best I can. It's okay if it looks a little messy. We can smooth it out when it's finished. We want it to be about just a little under 1 inch thick, maybe about 3/4 of an inch. Now look on all sides and make sure I'm getting a nice smooth line. Okay. A little bit thin up here, so I'm going to add a bit more. And the shape, the birds aren't going to care too much. The natural nest is made out of mud and straw, so this will kind of mimic that, the appearance of a natural shape. Okay, that looks about to be the right shape. Now before this dries, it takes about 30 minutes to dry, but before it dries, I want to set some hooks in it. I'm going to need to mount this to a board once it's completely dry, and so I'm going to set some hooks pretty close to the edge, and I'm using just a little metal hook. Mine actually moves a little bit. You can use the straight, right-angled type of hook. And I'm just going to set these in and let them dry in with the plaster. We set our swallow nest outside in the sun to dry, and it's fully set now, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the ball. And to do this, I can just gently squeeze the ball to break the edges away from the plaster of Paris. Take a little work. I didn't fully inflate my ball, so that helped a bit for me to be able to squeeze it. Okay, now we have it removed. There's a few sharp edges. I want to sand those just to protect the baby swallows, and I'm going to put on a mask because I'm sure it'll be pretty dusty, and just use some regular sandpaper and gently rub those edges until they're smooth. And just go around the whole outside, particularly the part that's going to be up and more exposed. Okay, that's nice and smooth. The next thing I want to do is mount this onto a board. That's how we're going to hang it up on the wall. It also gives a nice backing to the nest. But I also need to drill holes in this board to hang it. So I'm just going to outline where the nest is, and then that way I can see where a good spot will be to drill. So we have a little outline and the holes marked, and I put a small drill bit in to start these holes for screwing in the nest. I'm just going to give it a little start. I also want to drill holes all the way through that I can use for mounting this to the wall. I've put on a larger drill bit. I want to work around that knot in the wood. And just go on all the way through. Okay, and do that on both sides. And I'm putting the holes up towards the top just to balance the weight, which will be more towards the bottom. Okay, now we're ready to mount our bowl nest onto here. Okay, we're just gonna screw this right into the wood. Put one on each side. The bracket's bent back a little, that's okay. It'll give it a nice tight seal. And you can see the bowl's not perfectly sealed, but the swallows will bring some mud in and take care of that for us. You can also rub some mud on the outside. This is pretty bright white. We could just get some mud and rub it on the outside, give it a little darker color, more natural. I grabbed some grasses. I didn't want them to blow away. We can stuff a little bit of grass inside the nest to make it a bit more welcoming. The birds will do this anyway on their own, but it kind of identifies it that it's a nice natural place to have a nest. We're ready to mount our nest. We want to put it in a location that's about 8 to 10 feet above ground level, though it can be higher, and preferably under an eave or some sort of overhang to provide it protection. Now, barn swallows nest in colonies, so you can put multiple nests up to attract birds, or if you already have a pair, to increase the number that are in your landscape. Just put them about a foot or so apart. They like a little bit of room between their nests. We can expect to see the barn swallows returning to Oklahoma throughout the month of April, and they'll be selecting nesting sites. Now, even if a pair doesn't select your nest this season, you want to leave it up throughout the summer, because some of the young unmated birds will continue looking for nesting sites throughout the year that they'll come back and use next season. We want to clean out our nests in between each brood. Just remove any grass material and clean it out with a 2% bleach solution. That'll kill any disease or insect organisms that might be in there. And a clean nest is going to be more likely to attract a new mating pair next year.